Good morning. It is the 20th of December. It's actually Yule, I guess you can call it morning. Yule, depending what time zone you're in. Uh, but today I wanted to try to get another video in. Now, yesterday I did a video that was pretty rough. It was the colors a little bit wrong on the camera, which we just set up. And so I wanted to take some time to try to remake a video that was a little bit more final product. I say final product because I might still need to do some fine tuning and tweaking on the picture, get it doggone perfect. But right now, Mr. Rustball here and a few other pieces of material, including the stuffed cat, fame, and so the materials, including several video shots of me, we finally got the colors right. And so I wanted to take the time to talk to you about the camera. And the first thing I wanted to explain to you is this is a very nice machine, as I said in the unboxing. I made a couple errors in my explanation, so let me see if I could briefly explain what I said. I said it had shutter priority. No, it does not. To have shutter priority, it means that the camera has to this thing would automatically have to be able to stop down the lens. But electrical mechanical means this camera does not have that feature, so it does not have shutter priority. However, on the other hand, there is a more expensive version of this camera that does have the necessary support for actual automatic aperture lenses. This is not one of those cameras. Security Camera 2000 has several models of them, more advanced ones that have connections for automatic iris lenses, which then will give you full automatic shutter priority, aperture priority, or fully automatic programming, AE programming. If you want, I'm using photography terms from single lens reflexes because it's technology I understand. Because before I got into videos, I was an amateur photographer for many years, and of course I didn't put any makeup on, so obviously if I look a little bit red in the picture, you don't know why. But anyway, and so my camera, I had my first camera, the one I actually used for many years, I still have it, is a Pentax K1000. It's a 35mm film camera, and it's a single lens reflex, and it has a the micro prism focusing technology, which because my eyesight was very difficult to do. A lot of times I had to just basically guess the aperture and exposure, and I could see the match needle metering inside, but I couldn't really get the focus dead on perfect. But then again, you know, when you have visual impairment, you're legally blind, you have to do with what you got. And so I had to make do with basically go by the depth of field. Now, speaking of depth of field, this lens here is all the way open. This is an f4.5 lens, or 4. Yeah, I think it's a 4.5, and so that means that there's no really very much depth of field because the lens itself is open, wide open. Now, if I decided to either A, throw more light at the subject, I mean a lot more light. I'm talking about instead of 140 watts of light, I'm talking, because remember I got 3 45-watt photo CFLs here, so visualize it if you will. Instead of just having 3 45-watt CFLs, if I put in 3 105-watt CFLs, um, which would give me quite a bit more luminosity, I could probably definitely stop the lens down and still keep it at 1/100th of a second. Now remember, this is PAL, so a funny thing at the PAL is, you'll notice when you look at the picture, is if when I was working with film, for example, almost all film was based on a 60th of a second approximately. So you'd have like, unless you're using some older cameras like the old Olympus my dad had from the Korean War, the Olympus 35 I think it was. It had shutter speeds that were like 25, 50, 100, 200, 400, 800, which made it a lot harder. And then of course when I got my Pentax K1000, it has shutter speeds of 150. These are just basic speeds. There's more of them obviously than this. 1/30th, 1/60th, 1/25th, 2/50th, 500th, 1,000th was the highest speed it supported. This camera supports speeds something along these lines: 1/50th, 1/100th, 1/250th, I think, 1/500th, and 1/1000th, 4,000th, all the way up to 10,000th of a second. So obviously this has got a difference. It's going to change how much light entering the CCD sensor than the American version of the camera, which is based closer on the Pentax K1000 line of a 30th of a second. So yeah, I think the American one has like 1/60th, 1/20th, 1/240th, something like that. And so it's a little different speed. Now, what I noticed too with this setup is that the videos, even though they're a much higher quality picture, they seem to have a it doesn't quite take as much bandwidth in the MPEG 4s. That's possibly because of the fact that it's 1/20th. At 25 frames per second versus 29.97. The resolution is higher. It's 720 by 576. So it's a little bit smaller, even though it has a higher video resolution. So I'm not sure exactly why that is, but the point is that I'm going to be working on this camera as we go to get the colors right and to fine tune the image. Now, the reason why video was wrong and the Formax Studio Converter was set up for different, I guess for lack of a better term, we can call it, if you're using photography terminology, you can call it post-processing, i.e. It's the raw image from the camera has entered into the video, and then it's like it could add, it massage the color, the brightness, and the contrast, and and obviously the white balance would probably be under the color, maybe even under tint. But remember, on PAL, there is no tint, at least not as a control you normally would fiddle with. On American TVs, as you know, you have brightness, color, contrast, and tint. Now, if I was using PAL, or if I was using CCAM, you don't even have a color or tint control. So, but CCAM is like really hard to find. I wouldn't even want to mess with it. But the main thing is that the picture, of course, now we made some major changes. Let me just give you an idea what I did. Okay, just because I might want to use this video in the future for some reference. Number one, I have the shutter set at a fixed 1/100th of a second. Number two, I'm using a 25 millimeter lens open all the way. I think it's f4.2 or something. I have to double check that. I'm using a C mount to CS mount extension tube ring to compensate for the fact that this CCD camera does not go out as far to compensate for that situation with the picture. And the little camera lens is a built-in Howell lens, by the way. The same lens that we've been using on this Panasonic WV-CP234. Just I'm using on this camera because I already got it. The white balance has been disabled. We're using manual white balance. I have to double check the numbers. I think it's like blue is set for 40, and the green, oh no, it's red is set for 33. I did not change the red setting when I adjust the white balance because it wasn't really too red. It was just that it was too yellow, which means that the blue was just not present in the default manual settings. Now, because we're using a manual white balance, that means that obviously I can keep that setting on file, and then I can also switch it back to automatic white balance. And there's also something called ATW lock and push, ATW push, and then there's something called anti-CLR, which I guess means anti-color or something. Like, why would you need that, right? You already got monochrome mode, just set it for black and white. There. You're really gonna have no color. That's another thing I found out from doing some testing with the other camera. That other camera does not like 5,000 Kelvin CFLs at all. I don't even think this one likes 5,000 Kelvin CFLs. So, I mean, even the iPhone doesn't really like them that much. So the West Point 23 watt 5,000 Kelvin CFLs may be okay for everyday lighting, but it's not that great for much else. So that's something to consider. The 6500 Kelvin West Points and the cheap generic 12 volt CFL 6500 degrees Kelvin, both cameras don't mind that one too much. Granted, it's a little different color balance, white balance curve than these Julia Studio branded CFLs, but you know, that's expected. Now, how do I like the PAL versus the NTSC picture? Well, I think it's pretty good, but it's gonna take a little bit used to keep Vidi on the ball, because every now and then Vidi loses its when I started up the computer this evening after I had shut off for a few hours, Vidi went back to NTSC mode. I don't know why. So I had to shut the computer off again and reboot, and then Vidi recognized that I wanted the PAL format. And so Vidi is the problem. Right now it's being recorded by Vidi, but I don't quite get why Vidi is doing that. Obviously I got my coffee, and you want to say something? No, not really. Okay, yeah, I do. Alright. I want to ask you, what's the next plan after this? Well, I'm talking about the equipment. Oh, okay. First I want to get a microphone stand. Oh, okay. Because that way we can have this microphone, maybe get a standard gooseneck type stand so we can place it on the table, and that way I can move the microphone between rooms without having to move the whole table. Okay, because it's screwed. It's wired to the table with baling wire and stuff, so it doesn't go flying, right? And it's a real pain to remove it. Actually, it's using 24 gauge twisted pair wire, but and some heavier 14 gauge wire. So obviously, I think a microphone stand would be good. Yeah. Oh, of course, you're going to still do the chroma key. Yeah. We are still going to do the chroma key. I am going to get that put together in a short time. Okay. So the next thing is you're thinking about next month is maybe just getting the green screen and a microphone stand, or just a microphone stand, or just a green screen, or you got something else in mind? I think the green screen is definitely going to be a possibility. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to get one. Okay. So, by the way, the camera I paid was about $46.90 on eBay. I think that was a good deal. I think it was too, and it certainly was better than the CP234. Well, CP234 came out in the late '80s, I think early '90s possibility. 480 TBL. At one time, that was considered cutting edge. Yeah, it was, but it did not really have any kind of overrides. You could not set any manual modes on it. Everything was a fudge factor. You had to fudge everything just to get close to automatic or manual override. So yeah, this is definitely a better camera setup. No fudging required, and with the on-screen menu, it makes setting up a lot easier. So I mean, I think that's a great thing. Would you buy another one of these cameras? I would, yeah, but right now, by the way, the camera is available in NTSC as well. Yes, it is. You can get both formats. You can buy one or the other. So, cool anyway. And I also turns out that the generic composite to VGA adapter seems to like PAL better than NTSC as well, because I noticed that on my computer monitor screen I'm getting a clearer picture in PAL than NTSC. Yeah. And even the other computer, the Formax Studio, seems to be working better in PAL than NTSC as well on the Formax G5. That's relative, really. Yeah. So, but anyway, this is it. I just wanted to let you see a picture of the camera after it was a little fine-tuned and adjusted. I'm not sure if I need to squash a few more mites. I probably do, but again, now that we got the colors, correct, and contrast, brightness close to right, we should be able to do something. Yep. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.